What's going on, everyone? So, the Oklahoma City Thunder officially eliminated the Denver Nuggets, heading to the conference finals against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I want Minnesota to win just because I want the Lakers to lose to the team that, won the championship. Ideally, I'm one of those people. I also kind of want to see what OKC will do if they do they stay the course? Do they make a big splash? I think there's a lot of questions, but nonetheless, right? Talking about OKC and how it kind of affects the Lakers, right? And not in a direct sense of outside of Alex Caruso is on that team, right? But in the sense of roster buildup and Oklahoma City doing something that we haven't really seen. Right? If Oklahoma City wins the championship, they'd be the first team of their kind to do it. As far as the youth and not having key vets and, an older star and all that stuff, right? So they would be the youngest team to ever win in order to do that. They were already the youngest team to win, 6+ games as they did. And, they've kind of broken the mold in a lot of ways. But the reason I want to talk about them specifically is because they showed what athleticism and just defense can do, right? Talk about a team that isn't huge. They're not this big team. And one of the things that, when you talk about the Lakers and why they lost to Denver every year and all this stuff, it's the Lakers just don't have the size, right? That they can't match up size-wise. They can't. Well, neither can OKC. All their defensive guys are all 6'4", but they're relentless. And they're athletic, and they hustle, and they chase down loose balls, and they do all the things necessary to make the winning plays in order to get the job done. And look, they had their struggles, ended up going to a Game 7. Some of that, I believe, was just the inexperience. You saw particularly earlier in that round, right? Oklahoma City's right in those games, but you saw the youth versus veteranness that the Denver Nuggets were able to display and pull out some of those wins, right? Now, obviously, this doesn't mean Lakers just forget a center, right? No, Lakers still absolutely need a center. You look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have Isaiah Hartenstein, right? Chet Holmgren, but they don't have these big physical imposing centers, right? They just have a bunch of really good, really athletic, really scrappy, youthful players that are willing to do the dirty work in the hustle plays. And it goes into exactly some of the things that I've talked about this offseason and what I want to see the Lakers do this offseason. Again, got to get a center, ideally two. You need to get a clear-cut starting level center. And then you also need to get a quality backup center. But outside of that, I've talked about, I'd love to see just athleticism. You can make up a lot of ground just being hyper athletic. I mean, look at Houston. Houston, the big question of Houston was they can't score the basketball, right? So how are they going to beat anybody? They can't score the basketball, right? But they had one of the best records in all of basketball over an 82-game season. And you might ask, okay, well then Tyler, you got to be able to score. Yeah, well, you also have Luka and LeBron James. Houston doesn't have that. Who's Houston's superstar? Their best player is Şengün, and he's a 19-point-a-game guy. Right? You don't Lakers have the luxury. It's why I've talked about I'd love to see the Lakers just get a bunch of young, scrappy athletes. Right? Bronny James, even. I've talked about people go, oh, Bronny James is that. He's a young, scrappy, hyper athletic player. Right? No one's asking him to be a superstar. I don't even know if he'll be in the rotation next year. But he's a guy that could just go. Just go. That's it. Over an 82-game season, you need that. In the playoffs, you need that. You need that scrappiness. Minnesota had their struggles with the Golden State Warriors. I know they won in 5 games. So what does that series look like with Steph? They were able to hang in most of those games without Steph Curry, just hustling. I mean, the first game, they're smaller than we are. Literally, by a good margin, smaller than we are. And literally out-hustled Minnesota to winning the rebound game. A team that is all smaller than the Lakers, just through sheer effort, was able to out-rebound and outplay and perform the Minnesota Timberwolves. And again, if Steph doesn't go down, who knows what that series is? I still think Minnesota wins that series, but I don't think it would have been, they win that one game and then, they just get ran through for 4 games. But my point is that, again, having those dirty work players, why I talk about the dirty work players so much. And I'm always like, this guy, can scrap and do this. And people, I get comments all the time. They're like, oh, that guy sucks. That guy, he doesn't suck. It's just if he's not averaging 15 points, people look at it and go, Alex Caruso's averaging like 4 points a game, right? Literally. And people are like, every single Laker fan in the world would love to have Alex Caruso right now, right? Again, but there's other guys out there that are scrappy, that can do the dirty work. Dorian Finney-Smith. Why do you think I talk about Dorian Finney-Smith so much and praised him so much, right? You know, but people, oh, he doesn't. Yeah, I don't care about the scoring, right? Obviously, you need guys that can hit shots and score. You know, I'm not saying that it's something that like should be completely voided, right? But you need guys that can do the hustle, do the dirty work, make the hustle plays. And you look at Oklahoma City. There are a bunch of like 6'4" guards that are all just scrappy, that are chasing down loose balls. They're winning all the 50-50 balls. They're trapping and getting back and switching in rotation. Like they just are relentless and just get after it. Possession after possession after possession after possession. What's been one of the Lakers' biggest problems the last few years? Not even this year, last few years. Lack of effort. Lakers' lack of effort has been a huge problem. It's why I want to see the Lakers just go in, just get some young, scrappy guys. Obviously, I want guys that can shoot the ball and 3-and-D and whatnot. But it's hard to get those guys because every team in the league wants those guys, right? It's why I've talked about Lakers, should go and keep their 55th pick in this year's draft. Can you go buy another second round pick to just get young athletes that can come in? Lakers need that. Even in free agency, can you get one or two guys that are coming in on prove-it deals that can just be those guys? When you get to the postseason, when you get to the playoffs, you'll have Luka and LeBron to handle the offense. You just need guys. Can you hit the open shot, right? Can you be a slasher? Can you be a cutter? Can you get us second chance opportunities? Can you do the dirty work? Put the dirty work guys alongside our guys. Look at Dallas when they went to the NBA Finals, right, with Luka. You had Luka and Kyrie, and then you had a bunch of just scrappers. Right, Derrick Jones Jr., he was the 15th guy on Chicago, but he was a hyper athlete who just got after it defensively, did all the dirty work for Dallas, and was one of their key players and was like the prototype 3-and-D guy. Ended up getting him a contract. PJ Washington. No one's talking about PJ Washington before when he was on Charlotte. But he goes to Denver. He buys in. He does the dirty work. He becomes literally the anchor of their defense, right? And ends up being a huge piece to them. Daniel Gafford, right? Same thing. Again, no one's really talking about Daniel Gafford. Yeah, they were like, hey, he'd be great for the Lakers because Lakers need a center, right? And he was looked at as like a quality center, but no one was talking about Daniel Gafford the way that you're hearing him being talked about right now. But he came in, he was a scrapper, dirty work, hard-nosed, hit hard, right? Was not afraid and shy of the contact. You need those guys, right? You need the guys that can go out there and scrap. You need the guys that aren't afraid to get a little dirty. You need the guys that aren't afraid to hit in the mouth, to give a hard foul, right? Nothing dirty in the sense of like, you pick it up like, no, just good, like willing to go out there and do the dirty work. It's why I keep talking about, yes, Lakers need a center, but I've made literal videos, multiple, diving into, you need athleticism, right? Lakers lack athleticism, and you can make up so much just through effort and athleticism, right? But you look at the Lakers and it's like, okay, Luka Doncic. All right, he's at times looking like he's stuck in mud, right? He's moving so slow. Okay, well, who's next to him? Austin Reeves. Okay, another guy that at times looks like he's stuck in mud. Okay, who's next to him? Okay, Rui Hachimura. Again, another guy who looks like he's stuck in mud. When your most athletic player is LeBron James, it's a problem, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. LeBron is an insane freak athlete, even at age what will be 42 in year, or 41 in year 22, right? It's insane, the athleticism that he has. But he shouldn't be the sole athlete. You need to have guys. That's why even Dalton Connect over an 82-game season, obviously he's got to be able to get after it defensively because he was, by like every metric, our worst defensive player. But if he can get after it defensively, well, then again, now you have a guy who's athletic and can shoot and can do all those things. Same thing with the Bronny James. If you can go get a guy or two in the draft, if you can go get a guy or two in free agency and just let them go, right? Go trade for that center. Go trade for that 3-and-D guy. Go get some of these guys that can do the hustle plays and do the dirty work. Oklahoma City is just, more often than not, are just beating teams just on effort. Literally just effort. We ran OKC out of the gym, right? And it was one of the best effort games that the Lakers had, right? Effort can go a long way. You can get mask and do a lot. And we're so much bigger than OKC. That's one of the reasons OKC has had struggles against us the last few years. OKC has not been a good matchup, right? Or Lakers have not been a good matchup for OKC. We haven't been, right? We've beaten them regularly because we have the size 1 through 5. Not so much this year because, lose Anthony Davis, but in years past we have, right? And it's hurt them. But you look at teams like, Denver, and you're going to see in Minnesota and stuff like that. They're going to be able to counter that and their lack of size through effort, right? They just had no real interior presence, but they went and got Isaiah Hartenstein. That's their interior presence. And I love Isaiah Hartenstein. Don't get me wrong. I think he's excellent. I would love to have him on the Lakers. Another high effort, high energy guy that just does the dirty work. But he's not some show-stopping center. Their one superstar is SGA, right? But it's SGA and a bunch of scrappers, bunch of young athletes that just are willing to do whatever it takes, right? And then you got guys like Chet and Jalen Williams and all that stuff that, they're all willing to do the dirty work as well, but also can put the ball in the hoop. Well, you have LeBron James and Luka Doncic. Get a bunch of scrappers around them. It's why when I talk about go get a Jalen Suggs, right? Can you go get a Dyson Daniels? Can you go get some of these guys that are just, that are just, they're going to get after it. They're going to go. They're going to do whatever it takes, right? They're going to hustle. They're going to beat you to the ball every time. You need guys like that. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Feel what your thoughts. Agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mix in the middle. Either way, love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. It's me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.